Hi, my name is Charmaine Woods, and I'm here to talk about alternative formative assessments. I want to talk about some research that Hobgood and Ormsby did. There is no date for that, but the article is Inclusion in the 21st Century Classroom, Differentiating with Technology. And they basically point out the fact that today's classrooms are so much more diverse than when we teachers were students. I've been teaching 15 years, and I'm definitely dealing with a lot more diversity, especially with the inclusion and mainstreaming of the special ed students. And so one of the ideas that the Hobgood and Ormsby brought out was that technology sort of bridges that gap between, what students know and then what the teacher wants the students to know. And technology kind of provides a way so that we can, challenge those that are already good students, and then also meet the needs of those that maybe have learning barriers, whether that be through language or learning disabilities. So I started with, I wanted to show my slides some examples of how I used game-based learning to review for a digital literacy unit. And so I ended up using Kahoot here. And with Kahoot, there's a little bit of setup time. It's not that difficult. So basically I spent about 30 or so, maybe 45 minutes, because I'm kind of indecisive when it comes to picking questions. So I looked at the student worksheets. I decided, what questions I thought would be the most beneficial, or maybe questions that they might be struggling with that I needed to review. So what I liked about Kahoot is that you can insert images. I chose only 2 different choices, which was a true-false question, but you can choose up to 4 choices, multiple choice questions with up to 4. So I kind of like this. It was a kind of a cool illustration of what a digital native was. And as you can see on the computer screen, the students only see the colors and the shapes that go with the color. So on their particular screen, they get to click on whichever of the right answers they choose. Now, before I go on, students, in order to get into the game, they have to put in the game pin, which is displayed on the screen. And there's little music playing, and the kids get to choose their screen name. But the teacher also has the option of eliminating a player if they've kind of been, as they say, been naughty and are using screen names that are inappropriate. So I can immediately block that kid. So you're not going to get kids that are going to do that too much, because they actually do want to play the game. And as you can see here, this purple circle is going to tell us the time that's remaining, and there's 20 seconds to answer each question. So over here you can see how many have already answered. So we've already got 2 answers with 16 seconds to go. And I can actually skip this question if I didn't decide, this is not a good question, or for whatever reason, it might be the second time around the students are doing this, and this isn't one of them they need to review. So I can skip the question. Here, once the question is answered, I did this in preview mode, so I was the only one answering, but I wanted to demonstrate how right away, as soon as the 20 seconds are up, you'll see how many chose each different choice. And then the check mark is up here that shows that this red, or the true answer, was the right answer. Oh, it's actually here too. So the check mark is there to show you that's the correct answer, and then it gives you a number of who got it, how many got it right, how many got it wrong. And it's anonymous. So, there's nothing to click on here to tell me which particular students actually got it wrong. I will know that on the back end, but the rest of the students will not. Now I can end the quiz. If I decide that's it, I can just end it in the middle of it. And I can also wait to go to the next question. Now that's a really nice feature, because waiting gives you a chance. Let's say, a good majority, half or more of the class missed the question. I can go, let me talk about the definition of digital native. This is what it is, and that way I'm also addressing that learning gap immediately by giving them the correct answer. And so here's another question, which was I used all four choices here. When was the first MP3 player launched? Little trivia, I actually posted this picture on my Facebook just to see who actually had the right answer. Most people picked the year 2000, which actually it was in 1990. So again, the kids are seeing the four colors. The triangle is red, the circle that is supposed to be about an orange color, and then the blue diamond, and then the green squares. You know what? I didn't think about this before, but that's actually another visual that helps, maybe learners that have a hard time, separating, answer choices. You not only have the color that matches up, but you also have the shape. So that's something that would probably help those that, visually, we're all visual learners. So that helps those responses become quicker. And Kahoot does time the responses. They actually, well, we'll get to that, but they actually rate the top quickest responses, quickest and correct. So here is, again, if this were my class image right now, this is just me looking at the preview mode. I would see, let's say, 4 people answer question for 1980, and maybe 5 here. Whatever the breakdown is, I'll see how many students chose each question. And whenever I see a large amount of the wrong answer, or maybe it's a competition between 2 answers, I'll go over that because there's something about those 2 answers that made them choose. Now, if it's kind of spread out evenly, then it's kind of like, well, maybe they didn't know it and they're all just kind of guessing, and the ones that got it right were just guessing. So again, you can learn information even from the wrong answers. I can and again, I can review or I can move on. Here's the scoreboard. Once I click next, it will show the scoreboard and it gives me the top 5 people. It looks like this player was eliminated. I'm not sure. I don't remember this one. But it gives them points based on how fast they got in with the right answer. And after each question, this little scoreboard is shown. Now, I'm thinking that I don't always want to have the students in a situation where they feel like they have to compete with each other and race for the right answer. I'm more interested in the right answer. And so, not that I would take out the competition part of it every time, but I think to differentiate and to change it up a little bit, I believe there's a feature that will let you turn off this scoreboard display. Especially when, there might be some difficult questions that I feel I do want the kids to pause. I do want them to think, and I don't want them to hurry up and just guess. I actually want them to contemplate what the right answer is. So here, again, at the very end, you have the top score, and then it tells you how many they got right and how many they got wrong. And then I can click on feedback and results. Now the students are also seeing this. This is on the screen, but the students are also seeing this on their personal device. And in my classroom, it's a computer lab. So, so yeah, I mean, this is fun. Kids are very competitive, but sometimes if it's something like you really want a serious review, maybe it's a final exam review, maybe it's a cumulative test review, and you want the kids to just focus on right answer versus speed, and you want to kind of eliminate some of the guesses, then I would think that taking away this scoring mode will help. Here is a picture of what screen, like if I finish making the test, then I can click on, review, and I could actually look at all the questions I have. It shows here how many seconds they have to answer, how many answer choices. I'm showing you the first 5. And then you see here it says show all answers. So I can actually click that, and I have it on the next screen where I'm looking at all the answers, and it's color coded, and then the check mark is next to the correct answer. So I can kind of use this maybe as a answer key if I needed it for whatever reason. Maybe this is something you'd want to print out and use it to discuss with the students, or maybe give them a copy of after you've done this with all your classes and you're not worried about answers getting leaked out. but maybe as something to use for a study guide. You never know. I also have this on the back end. Let's see if I can move this over. You have basically, you can export the results to a spreadsheet, and this is what this is, where I have all the students, their scores, how many answers they got correct and then incorrect. Looks like it's a little misaligned here, but here's our correct answers, here's our incorrect answers, and then their score. And then I can actually see what they actually answered on each question. And obviously if it's red, they got it wrong, and then if it's green, they got it right. So even though it's game-based, it still gives you a lot of feedback and a lot of instructions. You know immediately where the students are. You know immediately what they need to review again. And you know immediately what maybe where your instruction was weak or where you need to supplement the curriculum. So again, Kahoot, this is great. It was a very easy startup. It was, I opened an account. It took me all of, the few minutes that it took to put my name and my email. And immediately I started creating a quiz. And I'd say between start to finish on setup, because it took me longer to choose questions, it might have taken me 30 to 45 minutes. And again, that's because I had to decide on which questions I was going to use. I was kind of on the fly making this. So if you already have your questions figured out, you already know what you're going to ask, it may not take you more than, I'd say, 20 minutes once you already have your account. So I really highly suggest this, using Kahoot. Now, one of the things that I wanted to point out is, even though games are great, kids love it, kids are excited about it, they were asking for more. One thing I learned is that there's also too much of a good thing. So you don't want to, you don't want to use this as your form of review every single time. You want to change it up so that when you do use it, it's still exciting and it's still fun, because kids will get bored. Kids get bored easily. So I say use this even, maybe once a week, if that, once every couple of weeks. Change it up, use different types of game-based learning, or use different other types of formative assessments where you can assess student learning as well. The key is to just keep kids interested. And once they're interested, you've got them hooked, then they're going to be paying attention, they're going to learn. And I think you can't go wrong with technology. It's also free. If I didn't say that, it's also free to sign up. You don't need to pay for an account. You don't have to worry about the district paying for anything. So free is always good. So I hope you enjoyed this presentation. Thanks for listening.